discuss about very popular method, metal forming process, that is forging operation. The forging operation is nothing but one of the type of metal forming process, that is it is a direct compression process in which the material is compressed or deformed with the help of compressive force, and the force is applied with the help of dies. I am Dr. Sanjay Kumar Gangurde, Professor, Department of Production Engineering, A.K. Wagh Institute of Engineering Education and Research, Nasik. So forging is the process. It is defined as a metal working process or metal forming process by which metal or alloy are plastically, that is permanently deformed in desired shapes by means of compressive force applied with the help of pair of dies. The workpiece material possesses the forgeability property. The forgeability is defined as the property of the metal which indicates the ability to acquire the desired shape and size by applying force. So in this video we will discuss about classification of forging processes according to working temperature, according to types of dies, and according to the equipment used. And we will discuss about the construction of the equipments. So forging processes are classified according to working temperature of the workpiece. So it is classified as hot forging, in which the metal or workpiece is heated above recrystallization temperature before deformation. Cold forging, the operation is carried out at the room temperature or below recrystallization temperature. And there is another method, that is warm forging. The drawbacks in hot forging and cold forging are to be eliminated in warm forging. Then based on the types of dies, forging processes are classified in two categories: open die forging, or it is termed as flat die forging, and closed die forging, as well as it is termed as impression die forging. So let us see about hot forging and the cold forging process, the difference between hot forging and cold forging. So it is the temperature difference. The hot forging is carried out above crystallization temperature, whereas cold forging is carried out below recrystallization temperature or at the room temperature. Because of heating of the component or the workpiece, the strength of the component is low, whereas in cold forging the strength of the component is high. As the workpiece is heated, low force is required for the deformation, whereas large force is required for the deformation. As its workpiece is heated, due to oxidation, the scale formation is there. Due to this scale formation, poor surface finish will obtain on the workpiece. As there is no heating, no oxidation, no scale formation, therefore better surface finish in cold forging. No close tolerances you are getting in hot forging because of there is chances of shrinkage of the component during cooling. So, so you are getting close tolerances is obtained in cold forging. As it is hot forging is the hazardous working condition, hazardous process, so relatively difficult for automation. It is cold forging is for automation. So because of the heating of the workpiece, the ductility of the workpiece increases, therefore large deformation is possible, whereas in cold forging, low deformation. As you have to heat the component, so heating cost is there. As you are carrying out cold forging at room temperature, so no heating of the workpiece is required, so therefore no heating cost. Based on the types of dies, we are classifying open die forging or flat die forging, as well as closed die forging, or it is also termed as impression die forging. So open die forging, the material is deformed between two flat dies having parallel surface with each other. Whereas in closed die forging, the material or workpiece is deformed between two dies in which the impressions are cut according to the shape and size of the component. So open die forging, it is generally suitable for less production, that is job type of production, and closed die forging, it is suitable for mass production or high volume production. Open die forging, it is suitable for simple shapes, whereas closed die forging, it is suitable for complex shapes, because the complex shapes contour, it is to be machined in the dies, and you are getting the complex shape as per the die shape, die contour. In open die forging, more skilled operator is required because there are two flat surfaces of the dies. So worker will give the shape to the hot workpiece, whereas in case of closed die forging, the die impressions will give the shape to the workpiece. So relatively low skill required. So low reduction with poor tolerances in open die forging, whereas in closed die forging, high reduction is possible with good tolerances. The die shape will give, or the die impression give the dimensions, it will decide the dimensions of the workpiece. So more material waste in case of open die forging, material waste is less in closed die forging. Die cost is less as the dies are flat, no impressions are machined in the dies, whereas the die cost is high because the impressions are to be cut in the impression die forging and the closed die forging. More time is required for open die forging, therefore it is suitable for job type of production, whereas less time is required, therefore it is suitable for mass production. Closed die forging is suitable for mass production. Then according to forging equipment, we are classifying the forging equipment in three categories. Hammers are classified as steam hammer. Steam hammers further classified as single acting steam hammer, double acting steam hammer, then hammer classification, bore drop hammer, bed drop hammer, rope drop hammer, chain drop hammer. Then presses, crank type press, screw type press, friction screw type of press, knuckle joint type of press, hydraulic press, eccentric type of press is there. And then third one, upsetter or forging machines. These are the equipments used in case of forging operation. so, so hammers we are classifying as steam hammer, single acting steam hammer and double acting steam hammer. So in case of single acting steam hammer, now you can observe the arrangement. Here it is the die, here it is the workpiece, then upper die, lower die is fixed with the anvil, upper die it is fixed with the ram it is to be attached to the rod, piston rod it is attached to the piston, and here it is the cylinder. Now this is actually double acting steam hammer. The steam it is passed through the inlet port and it will lift this piston in the top position. Then so steam from this bottom port it is used to move this piston rod, ram and the upper die to the top position, and this particular mass it will fall by the steam pressure when the steam it is passing through the top port, and it will fall due to its own weight as well as additional pressure it is applied by the steam from the top side. That is in case of double acting steam hammer. Whereas in single acting steam hammer there is a single port, that is this port it is there, single port, that is the steam it is passed through the bottom port, and there is absence of the top port. So steam it is passing through this bottom port, it will lift the ram, then this inlet is closed and the mass will fall due to its own weight. So no additional steam pressure is there in case of single acting steam hammer. Then bore drop hammer. Now arrangement: anvil, lower die, workpiece, upper die, ram, there is wooden board is there, the ram it is fixed to the wooden board. So there may be this board, if it is replaced by rope it is to be termed as rope drop hammer. If it is board is replaced by belt it is to be termed as belt drop hammer. If this board is replaced by chain it is to be termed as chain drop hammer. So board drop hammer, chain drop hammer, belt drop hammer, working principle is same. So there are two rollers. These are rotating in opposite direction. It will lift the board to the top position. When the board reaches to the top position, the roller gets separated from the board, brakes get attached to the board, and then when the brake disengages, the board will fall due to its own weight due to gravity. Therefore, it is to be termed as gravity drop hammer. From this figure, you will get the idea. drop hammer. So rollers are there. So let us see. This is the workpiece. This is the bottom die fixed with the anvil. Top die it is fixed to the ram. Here it is the board. Board. It may be board or belt or chain or rope. There are brakes. Rollers are rotating in the opposite direction. So this roller will lift this board to the top position. When it reaches to the top position, the rollers get separated, brakes applied to the board, and in the final position, the brakes disengaged, brake released, and this whole mass it fall due to gravity. See? So belt. If you are using belt, rope and chain instead of bolt, these types of hammers are to be termed as belt drop hammer, rope drop hammer and chain drop hammer. Then presses, crank type press and eccentric type press. So this is the eccentric type of press. Crank type of press. So eccentric type of press, it is generally used for shorter stroke, whereas crank type of press, it is used for longer stroke. So these are nothing but the mechanical type of presses. Another type, it is flywheel friction screw type of press. So first one, it is the friction screw type of press. So there are two massive discs are rotating. This is one disc and another two massive discs are there. In this figure, single disc, this is the single disc arrangement friction screw drive press. So here single disc is there and this disc it is nothing but the flywheel. When this disc rotates and this flywheel it is connected with this flywheel, it is contact with this uh, disc. The flywheel get rotates. Here it is the screw which is fastened to the frame of the press, and this particular screw will move up and down due to the rotation of this flywheel. So you are getting the stroke. Here it is the knuckle joint. As this crank rotates, there this is linked with this is attached to the various links. So these links, as it rotates clockwise, the links may be pulled in the forward direction as well as backward direction. Due to forward and backward movement of this link, this ram will move up and down. Similar to the double acting steam hammer. So here it is the hydraulic press. When the oil it is passed through this, it will lift the ram to the top position, and when the oil it is passing through this, it will lower the ram with the pressure. So this is hydraulic type of press, where these two types, mechanical type of press and knuckle joint type of press, it is nothing but me mechanical types of presses. Then the upset forging machine. Upset forging machines or forging machines are generally used for making the head on the bolt, maybe bolt head, maybe rivet head, maybe nail head, maybe screw heads are manufactured with upset forging. So the arrangement for this upset forging is this: heading tool is there, then stock gauge is there, stationary gripper die. So this die, it is stationary, and there is moving gripper die. It will move in this direction as well as in the backward direction, forward as well as backward direction. And this is the stock. So this volume, this portion of the stock, it is to be converted into the head. So heading, it is this cavity in these two die, the cavity formed by stationary gripper die and the moving gripper die will decide the shape of the head. So you can observe in this case, here it is the stock is there, required amount of volume of this particular stock, it is restricted with the help of this stopper, right? So impressions are cut in gripping die as well as stationary die. Here it is the heading tool or punch. In the second stage, closed position of the dies, stopper will move in the backward direction. In the third stage, during closed position of the stationary die and moving die, this punch or heading tool move in the forward direction, and to form the head, this workpiece, this material in the cavity will take the shape of the cavity in the final stage, and it so you are making the head on the component. So the cycle consists of, first one, wire stock is fed to the stock. Second, gripping die is closed on the stock and the stock is retracted. Third, punch moves in the forward direction, and in the fourth case, the material in the die cavity will take the shape of the die cavity, that is formed by stationary gripper die and moving gripper die. Thank you.